Hello, and welcome to Zap the Gender Pay Gap, the podcast series where we expose the elephant in the room. The elephant's name, the gender pay gap. I am coming to you from Memphis, Tennessee, located on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River. Nestled in the southwest corner of the state, Memphis is home to the blues, barbecue, and so much more. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker.
Thank you so very much for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. I have a goal to increase subscribers to my podcast. Will you help me out? I'd be ever so grateful. Just click the link in the description box below to subscribe. That way, you'll never miss an episode. Also, look for me on Apple, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. You can like and subscribe there too. Did you get a chance to listen to last week's episode? If not, please go back and take a listen. We celebrated National Girlfriend Day. Several of you accepted my offer to be gal pals, and for that, I am very grateful. As I signed off on the last episode of my podcast, I told you that as a female leader, I have gained lots of knowledge about pay systems and how they work. I promise to share some of that knowledge with you, especially with female leaders. Why especially female leaders? Because I are one. Now, I know that's not grammatically correct, but it sounds so good to my ears that every time I say it, I smile. For more than half of my career in paper manufacturing, I was in some capacity as a female leader, but I didn't start there. Here's a bit of trivia. Bet you can't guess where I worked during part of my college days. Whataburger. Yes, Whataburger. Even to this day, I have fond memories of my days working there. I liked it so much that even after moving away to a state that didn't have a Whataburger, I would make it my business to stop by on my visits home. Last year, my husband and I took a few days to get away and drove to Dallas. Guess what I saw on our way out of town? You guessed it, a Whataburger. My husband turned around and backtracked just to get me a Whataburger. It was a little out of the way, but it was well worth it. You can imagine how surprised I was to find out that there's even a National Whataburger Day. Yes, you heard me right. Now that's a good reason to celebrate. So you may be asking, Gwendolyn, what in the world does this have to do with pay systems? Well, you know what I'm going to say, right? I'm glad you asked. My point is that during my days at Whataburger, I was a poor college student. I was earning minimum wage. I wasn't all that concerned about pay systems. I didn't even know what a pay system was. I was just glad to get paid. But even though I didn't know what a pay system was, I had to learn. And I urge you to do the same. Even when I started my career after graduating from college with my degree in accounting, I was a college graduate looking for a job during a downturn in the economy. At a time when some companies were in the midst of a hiring freeze. When I did get hired, almost 3 months after graduating, it seemed like a lifetime. I was just happy to land a job, to land a good job in the midst of a struggling economy. I knew my job title, I knew how much I would be earning, and I knew where I would be working. Most of us know that too. But sometimes we stop there. I urge you to learn as much as you can about the pay system that governs what you earn. Why? Because being informed will help you be better armed to navigate the system, especially when it comes to negotiating your next pay raise. Because you are an insider, you have a room with a view into your employer's pay system. And if you are a female leader, you have a much broader view. Now, why do I say that? Because as a female leader, not only are you aware of information related to what you earn, you also have access and a view into what others earn, especially those who report to you. In essence, you're one level up. You have a view from the mezzanine. And as you move higher within the organization, your view becomes even more expansive. That was made very clear when I was selected to work on the pay and performance task force for our company. At that time, I was a financial manager. I knew quite a bit about our pay system, or so I thought, until I started working on the task force. Now, this was an ad hoc assignment. It lasted probably for a year, and it was in addition to my regular job, and it was fascinating. Our objective was to review our current pay and compensation system and make recommendations for improvement. Not only did I learn about our internal practices, but we also researched and learned about best practices from companies around the globe. I discovered that there are multiple pay systems, at least 5, and researched the underlying principles that drive pay policies and practices. In some ways, it was like being back in college again, like studying for my MBA, getting a master's in pay systems. I got to learn, baby, learn about what governs what we earn, baby, earn. I got a chance to spend some time in our corporate headquarters to engage with colleagues from business units across the company, and even individuals outside of our company who were specialists in this area. I was even selected to be one of the team members who presented to the board of directors. We presented our recommendations on changes to our pay system. Talk about a room with a view. Now, what does this all have to do with you? It's this. Please find out as much as you can about your company's pay system. Why? Because you need to know as much as you can about the system that affects your pay. At minimum, you need to know your salary, your pay grade, and your pay range. You also need to know the policies around increases and promotions and other things that affect your pay. Now, in episode 20, I dared you to do your homework. Consider this homework. If you didn't listen, go back and take a listen. And if you did listen, it'll be a refresher. You'll understand why. For female managers, not only do you need to know this information because the system affects your pay, but part of your responsibility is to administer policies related to pay and performance. Not only can you see your pay, you can also see what others earn, especially those reporting directly to you. You can also see if there's a gender pay gap for your direct reports. And if there is, you must decide what to do about it. Now, what can you do about it? First, I encourage you that if you see something, you're obligated to say something, especially when it comes to inequities and a possible issue with pay in the workplace, and to bring it to the attention of the powers that be, those who have the authority to make a change. Now, I don't automatically assume that the difference in pay is due to gender, but if 2 of my direct reports of different genders have the same job title, they have the same and similar level of experience, and very similar job performance, it's possible that the difference is due to gender. And as a female leader, it is your responsibility to take action to rectify the situation if it is due to gender. Now, please listen and understand. As an insider, you have access to information that others don't have, whether you are a female manager or not. But especially if you are a female manager, you have access to information regarding your pay system. The question is, what will you do with it? Now, I really do hope you will take me up on my offer to do your homework. And please let me know what you find out. In many ways, this elephant is a bully, and bullies generally don't pick on those people who are stronger than they are. They pick on those people they think who are weaker, people they can beat up. But you know what? Even bullies are afraid of something. On the next episode, I will let you in on a secret. Elephants are afraid of something. And I want this elephant, the gender pay gap, to be afraid of me. When it comes to the gender pay gap, I want this elephant to be afraid when it sees me coming. I want it to run in the other direction. I want it to be afraid to pick on you too. We're going to get this elephant called the gender pay gap out of our territory. Please plan to tune in next week. And oh, by the way, if you haven't tried one yet, the next time you're close to a Whataburger, pick up one for me. Thanks so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time for the next episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. Until then, please be well.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. Please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow me wherever you get your favorite podcast. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.